Hello my dear students, this is your social teacher Tirupati Nayak Malok. Today our topic is production and employment. I repeat, today's our topic is production and employment. Yeah, you once observe the title of this lesson, production and employment. Production means production of goods and services. Employment, those who are producing the goods, obviously they are the employees. Employees usually they produce the goods and services. So our topic is related to employment and production. Next, based on our Indian economy, there are three important sectors are there. Three important sectors. First one, primary sector. Second, secondary sector. Third, tertiary sector. There are three important sectors are there in our Indian economy. First one is primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. What are these sectors? What usually these sectors will do? Primary sector. Primary sector also produce the goods and services. Secondary sector also produce the goods and services. Tertiary sector also produce the goods and services. Okay? How? Primary sector. What is primary sector? Primary sector, it depends upon nature. It depends upon nature. So what things comes under primary sector? Here, mining, farming in agriculture, forestry, poultry, etc. I repeat, primary sector completely depends upon nature. Mining, farming, forestry, poultry, these are part in primary sector. These are depends upon nature. So those things will be depends upon the nature. They will be comes under primary sector. You can take an example, agriculture. Agriculture depends upon nature. Okay. After agriculture, you see honey collection. Honey collection also can comes under nature. So that also comes under primary sector. Next, secondary sector. Secondary sector is also called as manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector. See, secondary sector actually what it do? Primary sector products they convert with the machineries with certain activities, then it is called as manufacturing sector. I repeat, primary products. Example, wheat is there, wheat. Rice is there. With the wheat, rice, they make atta, flour. So that is the work done in the manufacturing sector. Secondary sector. All the industries will comes under secondary sector. So that's what this is called as manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector. I repeat, secondary sector also called as manufacturing sector. Next, tertiary sector. Tertiary sector also called as service sector. Service sector. Yeah, it's a very important sector because these two sectors needed the services. These two, primary, secondary, both sectors needed the services of the tertiary sector. Example, you have harvested your paddy. The paddy need to be transported into the market. Services, tractor is needed, vehicle is needed, one person, driver is needed, isn't it? Manufacturing sector, we are producing certain goods. If we are producing certain goods, worker is needed, engineer is needed to supervise the work. So that these are called as services. We can easily say that without the services, primary and secondary sector, we cannot make the product. Both primary and secondary sectors, they cannot make the product without the help of the service sector. You want honey? Some of the person, the honey collectors, we want. You want baskets? Those who are the basket makers also we want. You want any other products, forest products? That also you want those persons related to that activity. Hence, those who are producing services, these are comes under service sector. Here you remember both sector, first and D sector, primary sector, secondary sector, they are making goods. They are making goods. But service sector, they do not make any goods. They do not produce any goods. They just give services. They give just services. Services also countable. Without services we can't provide. Your classroom teacher, doctor, engineer, any other professional comes under service sector. Example, bus conductor, pilot, engineer, government officers, CM, these all also comes under service sector because they do not produce anything, just they give their valuable services us. Yeah, what department will comes under tertiary sector? Tertiary sector, transportation. Transportation means include railway, roadway, airway, waterway. Transportation, telecommunications, banking, banking, insurance, trade means business, okay. These are defense, administration, defense means police. Do police can make any product? No, he will give services. Defense, soldiers. Do soldiers they make any product? No, impossible. They only protect us, that is service. Administrators, like school correspondents, hospital heads, and IAS officers, department heads, these are also comes under services because they are providing important services to us. So these are the three important services. It may ask for 1 mark or 2 mark question. What is tertiary sector? Why tertiary sector also called as service sector? Because without services, primary and secondary sector, they will not make any goods and any services. With the help of tertiary sector only, we can make any good or any services. So that's what tertiary sector also called as service sector. It's a vital, it is very important sector in our Indian economy. Okay, next. We usually calculate GDP, gross domestic product. In 9th class also this topic is there. Let us see what is GDP, how we can calculate the GDP, what are the methods. Let's see GDP. Yeah, GDP means gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. Simple. Gross domestic product means goods and services produced in a year. Their value, goods and services produced in a year in a political boundary. That means the final value of the goods and services produced in a year in our India. In our India only, not other country. Some of the Indians are there in different countries. They also produce certain goods. They also produce certain services. We do not calculate their income, their goods and services. Just we have to calculate our Indian goods and services. So that, yeah, the definition of the GDP is final value of goods and services produced in a particular year. Yeah, sir, what is particular year? Because we usually have financial year. That that Indian financial year is from April 1st to next year March 31st. Example, 2020 our financial year started from April 1st. So till April 1st to next year, that means till 2021. This is considered as one financial year. You take example of US. US financial year is from January 1st to December 31st. December 31st. But not in our India. We usually follow the Britain method, that is April 1st to March 31st. All usual calculations, everything will be calculated. The goods, rate, value, whatever they produce it in between the year, in between these months, especially between April 1st to March 31st. So this is called financial year. This is called financial year. So let us see again. Final value of the goods and services produced in a particular year. Particular year means financial year. Financial year means April 1st to March 31st. April 1st 2022, next March 31st. Again after March 31st, April 1st will come. So that comes under another new financial year. That is comes under another new financial year. I hope you understand about the GDP. One of the important thing you have to remember that GDP is the final value of the goods and services produced in India only. In India only, not outside. Not outside. We should not calculate the imports, because imports means some of the Indians are residing in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan Indians also, they are sending certain money to India. We do not calculate that, because we wanted to know what are the goods and services, what is the value of the goods and services produced in our India. So that's we want, that is called as GDP. That is called as GDP. Next, GDP also can be written in another way. We can also write the GDP in another way, that is primary sector plus secondary sector plus tertiary sector is equal to also GDP, because final value of the primary sector, final value of the secondary sector, final value of the goods and services of the tertiary sector. If we both these three added, if these three added, it will become GDP. Usually the same. Final value of the goods and services produced in a year means where the goods and services will come. Goods and services will come from the primary sector, goods and services come from the secondary sector, goods and services come from the tertiary sector. So the final value of the three sectors, final value of the primary, secondary, tertiary sector, it is also called as GDP. So these also we can write. Yeah. So how we can calculate the GDP? In our textbook, they didn't mention what are the calculation method. Okay, how we can calculate the GDP? Just I said to you now, inside a boundary, political boundary, in political boundary of India, not outside, only the internal boundary. In India only, what is the value of the goods and services? Does we really calculate the goods and services the value? Is it or not? Let us see what is the procedure we have to estimate the GDP. Yeah, GDP should be single count. We need GDP. We need to obey certain restrictions, that is single count. Single count. What is single count? Single count and double count. How we can estimate the GDP? Yeah, example. It is example. Yeah. I said to you only final value of the goods and services. Am I right? Only final value of the goods and services. Yeah. In this example, let us see what is final value. What is the final value and the goods and services? Let us see. Final value. Example, farmer. Yeah. Farmer sold wheat. Farmer sold wheat to the miller. kg 8 rupees. Kg wheat 8 rupees. The farmer sold to the miller. Okay. Miller was grinded. This miller was grinded the wheat. Then the flour came. Then he was increased the price. Sorry, it is 8 rupees, and here 10 rupees. And he was sold to biscuit maker. Industry, biscuit maker. What the biscuit maker was done? Biscuit maker was made biscuits with the help of this flour. Wheat became flour now. Flour means atta. Wheat 8 rupee, he sold to the miller grinded that wheat, then flour came, the flour was sold to the biscuit manufacturer or biscuit industry manufacturer. This manufacturer sold the biscuit packet. He made the packet. He sold it into the market, that is 20 rupees. That is 20 rupees. So let us see, let us find what is the primary product, what is the final product, what is the intermediary product. Wheat is the primary product. We can change in many ways. Okay? Wheat. So wheat, whenever we grind it became flour. Does flour is a final product? With the flour we can make chapati, we can make so many number of things with the flour. So flour is a intermediary good. Yeah, whenever it was sold to the biscuit manufacturer, he was added some sugar and other ingredients. Finally he sold into the market. He finally sold this product into the market for 20 rupees. So that the final value of the good is 20 rupees. Final value of the good is 20 rupees. So this is called as single count. Then what is double count? Double count. We have to avoid double counting. To avoid what is double counting? See, 8 rupees wheat plus 10 rupees atta flour plus 20 rupees biscuit packet. Mostly this is 38 rupees. That is, double count, double adding. We are added, many things were added again and again. So that this is the wrong method calculation of the GDP. It is the right method. Single count is the right method. Double count is the wrong method. We need to know the value of the goods and services. Then only the final value only we have to count. Not each and everywhere, wherever that was transformed, that we need not to be count. So that you have to remember. Next, another issue. Sir, what are the methods? Now we finished that. In this way, we can count the GDP. Final value, how we can count, how we can calculate the final value, that we have seen. But what is actually the method? In what way Indian Finance Department, Indian government, they estimate the GDP? Estimate GDP. It is really a tough task. To estimate GDP is a tough task. There are two methods are there to estimate GDP. It is also not there in the textbook, but for our knowledge purpose, we have to learn. Estimation of the GDP. First one, income method. If they may ask how the GDP can be calculated, that also from this method also you may write, it will be advantage to you. This an advantage to you. Income method. Under this income method, okay. In the country, the income earned by all the persons in India. Income earned by all the residents in India. I repeat, income earned by all the residents in India. So this is called as income method. In India, how many people are there? How many people are working? How much they are getting their income? How much they are earning? So if we calculate, the GDP will come. Second method, expenditure method. Under this method, all the resident, whatever amount they are using for purchasing something, that is expenditure. How much expenditure was going on for each and every individual family, for government, for each and every person in India, what is their actual expenditure? So that in this method we can able to estimate GDP. Okay? One more important thing I want to share to you. Estimation of the GDP is accurately is not possible. We cannot estimate GDP in accurate way. You please understand. You make a note that we cannot estimate GDP in accurate way. Why? Because there are calculation complexities. Calculation complexities. What are the calculation complexities? Certain things we cannot estimate. What are things? Example, calculation complexities. Just I said to you, we cannot estimate GDP in an accurate way. Why? Because, example, black money cannot add into GDP. We cannot add black money into the GDP because some of the person they are doing illegal business like drugs business or any illegal business they are doing. Does they show their income is this much of income we got due to this business? They can show not. Still they are having money. So that the black money cannot add it into GDP. Next, another example. Your own farm products were not included. Own farm products not included. Just now I told to you expenditure method, isn't it? Expenditure method. For example, you have a 3-4 guntas of land or 1 acre of land. You are growing your own vegetables and you are consuming that vegetable. Okay. So that how much value of the vegetables you are consuming per year, that is not calculating. At the same time, if you don't have 1 acre of the land, you are purchasing from the outside, like in Reliance Fresh, More, Heritage or any other sites you are purchasing. Does how much value of the vegetables, the fruits you are purchasing outside that really adding to the GDP? No. But the person who are purchasing from Heritage, Reliance, Fresh, More, Spencer, DMart, we can calculate because this much amount they are spending on these things. So, but your own farm products were not added. So, I said to you that each and everything need to be calculated. Each and everything will be calculated. We did not calculate black money. We are unable to calculate the farm products. Okay. Next, third one, most important one is unpaid work. Unpaid workers. Unpaid workers salary also. Unpaid workers services. Unpaid workers services also we cannot add into the GDP. Example, your mother will do lot of work. Okay, your mother will do lot of work. That means she is giving services to us now. She is giving services to us, but she is unpaid. What I said, each and every good and services, their value we have to calculate, but not possible to calculate the services of the unpaid workers. At the same time, your neighbor appointed a maid worker. Okay, in your neighbor appointed a maid. Whatever the work your mother doing in your home, in the neighbor's house, that maid is doing. So that you can say that maid is getting 10,000 rupees per month, but your mom is not getting anything. Means maid services are calculating and your mom services were not calculating. So that also one of the complexities. Fourth one, non-monetary transactions were not calculated. Non-monetary transactions. Monetary transactions. Yeah. Sir, what non-monetary transactions? Because is all person income can be calculated? All person's income. All person income calculated? Possible? Is all person income is calculated? Possible? Example, auto driver salary, how we can calculate? Mason worker salary, how we can calculate? Okay? Outside, maid, in some areas, the maids were paid by hand, not for the monetary, not by the bank. So each and every person, those who are paid from the bank, we can calculate approximately so and so range they are getting. So we can little bit idea we have. But we are paying by hand, we cannot calculate. So that's what non-monetary transactions were not calculated. Example, daily wage workers, vegetable vendors, okay, and mason workers, many of the things like painters, many of the laborer work where we do not calculate. So that estimation of the GDP is not possible accurate way. We only estimate GDP only nominal. You remember? Nominal. We cannot possible. We cannot make or we cannot arrange. We cannot estimate GDP accurate way. Only approximately. Only nominal you have to identify. Okay. So these are the complexities in estimation of the GDP. Children, you have to remember that these section also not mentioned in our textbook, but it's a knowledge purpose. It is very important that you have to be identify that. Okay, GDP is normal GDP, not exactly impossible. Next step. Yeah, let us see GDP. I am saying GDP. What is the GDP? GDP share. GDP share. Let us compare GDP share. GDP share. As per the textbook table, we have to compare the GDP from 1974, so 73-74 to 2015-16. We have to compare. So as per the 1973-74, 43, 22, 35. These are agriculture, okay, industries, service. GDP share. GDP share in 1973 and 1974. In the year 1973-1974, from agriculture, we got 43% of the GDP. 43% of the GDP we got from agriculture. GDP share. Industry, from industry only we got 22%. 22%. Now 35% we are getting from service sector. Service sector. It is in 1973-1974. Let us see now. In 2015-16, in 2015-16, only 19%. 19% from agriculture, 28% from industries, and here 53. See double 3553 reverse. 53% of service sector we got. Much of the GDP we are getting. See, these both are giving 47% of the GDP. Yeah. Agriculture and industry. Agriculture, industry, these both are giving us only 47% of the GDP, and much of the GDP we are getting from service sector. That means service sector are very, very important, very, very vital. Okay. See, 2/3 of the GDP. 2/3 of the GDP we are getting from service sector. Rest of the things we are getting from agriculture and industry. You see, one more important observations you have to do that 43% and 19%. That time much number of the people that depends upon agriculture, but now those people are depends upon agriculture is decreasing. This data showing that the people those who are depends upon agriculture is decreasing. Okay, people those who are depend upon the service sector and the service sector and secondary sector increasing, considerably increasing. So this shows that every year GDP is increasing, isn't it? Every year GDP is increasing, especially from the service sector. I already clearly mentioned to you what is service sector. Example I want to give you. Day by day population increasing. Population increasing. Whenever population increasing, facilities also need to be increases. Facilities. Example, in your town, in your village, once upon a time there was no bank. Once upon a time there was no internet center. Once upon a time there was no bakery. Once upon a time there was no restaurant. Once upon a time there was no movie theater. But recent days, these all are there. Recent days, these all are came to your villages, towns, because these are service activities. Even movie theater, entertainment also comes under the service sector. Okay, so that we can say that service sector need to be increased more and more and more and more. Sir, what are you saying, sir? Agriculture percentage decreasing, sir. If nobody do the agriculture, what will do? That's correct answer. Correct, you said. But you have to remember that whenever much still now 80% of the rural household still depends upon agriculture. How much? 80%. 80% of rural household still depends upon agriculture. So due to that they are losing their employment opportunities. If those people are here, 43% is there now, we are sending certain people to other sections, then they could good income. They can get good income. So that also we have to think. So India need to be achieve the development. What should be the correct procedure? So 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1. That is this one. 3, 2, 1. Okay, means 1, 2, 3. This manner 3, 2, 1. We need good development in agriculture, in GDP, in growth and development. First, service sector need to be come to the first place. Second as the secondary second place. Third is agriculture need to be come into the third stage. Sir, if agriculture nobody will do the agriculture, then what we will eat? Yes, we will eat, because whenever much persons will be not there in agriculture, agriculture will be automatically mechanized, machines will be used. You see, in US, in European countries, 4 to 6% of the people that depends upon agriculture. 4 to 6% of the people that depends upon agriculture. Percentage. In India, still 49% of the people that depends upon agriculture. Still 49% of the people that depends upon agriculture in India. This graph, this table is very important. They may ask as per the academic standard 3 information skills. From the information skills, they may ask you write about the statement or convert this into paragraph wise. So they may ask different questions, or make this graph, make these numbers into pie chart also they may ask. Okay, so you be aware of that. Still now we learned that GDP share. Once upon a time we got better GDP from agriculture, okay, least from service sector. But nowadays we are getting more from the service sector. 53% we are getting from the service sector as per the 2015-2016 estimation. Employees. Let us see the employers share. Employees, where these employees are working. Employees. Yeah, employees are usually, again we have to compare to 1973, 74, 2015, 2016. Previously we have compared that GDP share, you remember, but now employee share 71, 11, 22. So agriculture, 74% of the people that depends upon agriculture. 74% of the member that depends upon agriculture. Here industries, only 11% of the people that depends upon agriculture. Okay. Service sector, 15% of the people that depends upon service sector. 1973-74. But now 47 reverse. 47% of the people completely depends upon agriculture. Industries, 22% of the people that depends upon agriculture, and 31 double, and one digit is more, double. 31% of the people that depends upon agriculture. In previously we learned that only 43% of the GDP we got in 1973. But now we are getting least 19% only we are getting. 19% only we got GDP from agriculture. Most of the GDP we are getting from service sector. So what you observe, day by day employment opportunities are increasing in the service sector and industrial sector. I repeat, employment opportunities were increasing in the service sector and industrial sector, but decreasing in the agriculture sector. It need to be decreases. So in some extent it need to be decreases, because more number of people they are depends upon agriculture. Yeah. So these data also very important. They may ask in information skills. 1973-74 estimations. Agriculture 74 now became 47. Employees, 74% of the people they depends upon agriculture once upon a time, but now 47. Once upon a time 15% they depends upon service sector. 1973-74, but now 31% of the people depends upon agriculture. Industries. 31 service sector. 31 service sector they depends. Yeah. Let us discuss about disguised unemployment. Yeah. What is disguised unemployment? Simple. Disguised unemployment means, more number of people work in one sector. More people are working in one sector. I repeat, more people are working in one sector. So that leads to disguised unemployment. Example. In one family, in our textbook they gave that Gayatri. Gayatri had 2 hectares of the land. 2 hectares. 2 hectares is equal to 5 acres. 5 acres of the land. 5 people are there. 5 people are there. 5 people are there. So 5 people are working in the farm. 5 people are working in the farm. When 5 people they work, 2 people they work, 3 people they work, the yield will be same. The profit will be same. Profit same. If 3 people do, 5 people do, the land will be give the same. So that we can see all people are look to be employees, but these are not fully employed. So that we can say that hidden employment, hidden unemployment. It also can be called that hidden unemployment. In discussed unemployment, we can see that hidden unemployment, because you see all the people are working, but no one getting full employment, no one getting full profits, isn't it? If among the 5, 2% will be engaged or 3% will be engaged in the agriculture, 2%, 1% will work in industry, 1% will work in the service, 1% will work industry, their income will be raises, their income will be increases. But 5 of the 5 people they work, the same profit, the same yield will become, the same profit will become. So that disguised unemployment is more number of people work in one sector, more number of people work in one area, one part. So that can be called as disguised unemployment. Okay. Next, let us see under unemployment or underemployment. Underemployment. Yeah. Underemployment. Underemployment means work less than their capacity or earn less than their capacity. Work less than their capacity. Yeah. And what is underemployment? Underemployment means work less than their capacity. Somebody they are working less than their capacity. You are very well qualified. You are IITian, but now you are working as a clerk. Your capacity is too huge, but now you are working very small job because of not availability of that. Sometimes you can see in discussed unemployment also we can find underemployment. For example, 10 members work. 10 members work is 20 members they are doing. In agriculture, 10 members work is there. But for the 10 members work, 20 members are doing. So whenever the 20 members they are doing work, these 20 members they will not get full employment. For example, for each and every person 1000 rupees they will ready to give. Okay. But whenever the 20 members were engaged at that work, if for everyone 500 rupees only will come. So that is also called as underemployment. It is, these both are same in concept wise, both are very same. Discussed unemployment also we can see that hidden unemployment. We cannot see. If you see, 5 members are working in the farm, but in another side these are not fully employed. Not fully employed. Discussed unemployment means no one fully employed, but work is there, but not full work. Not full work. Okay, that's you have to remember. Next. Yeah, one more table they have given in our textbook in related to agricultural worker. Yeah, as per that 1974-73, 49% of the people they are working in agriculture, 24% of the people that depends upon industries, and 27% of the people that depends upon service sector as per the 2015-16 calculations. Okay, but overall we see among the 49%, among the all, this is all including men and women, 47%. But if majority, 63% of the women were still engaging in agriculture. These are engaging in agriculture. This is agriculture, this is industry, and this is service sector. Next, 20% of the women are engaged in industrial activity. 17% of the women were engaging in the service activity. Still agriculture is very dominant. Many people are depends upon still in agriculture. Okay, so our responsibility is we need to shuffle them from one place to another place, from agriculture sector to industrial sector, from agriculture sector to service sector. Then they may be beneficial. They may be beneficial. You see, agriculture plus industry, these both are giving 47% of the GDP, isn't it? But Only service sector only giving 53% of the GDP, isn't it? GDP share is, service sector share is very huge. Okay, so that we have to shift the agriculture persons to work in service sector. But work in a service sector, it is not an easy task. Work in a service sector, it is not an easy task, because we need completely skilled laborers we require. Skilled laborers. For agriculture, to work in agriculture, we doesn't want any skilled persons. But to work in service sector, we want skilled persons, highly educated persons, highly qualified persons we require, isn't it? Then only the service sector can fulfill our aspirations and our aims. So that also we have to discuss. Next, let us see now. Majority of the people in our India, they are working in unorganized sector. They are working in unorganized sector. Yeah, what is unorganized sector? What is organized sector? I want to explain to you. First one, organized. Second one is unorganized. Organized, unorganized. Yeah, organized means those people are working in government, central government and multinational companies. These are called as organized workers. Those workers are working in nation work, in construction works, other laborers, coolie, these comes under unorganized sector. This is very important in examination point of view in the SSC. This is very important in examination point of view in SSC. See, yeah, first point is 8% of the people that depends upon 8% of the people are in organized sector. Only 8% of the people they are in organized sector. Here remaining 92% people they depends upon unorganized sector. So what did you understand from the first point? 8% of the people they are giving 50% of the GDP, 92% they are giving 50% of the GDP. So that's what we need to shift them to the other side. Then we will get more GDP, we will get more income, we will get more development. Okay. Next, second point. Second point is those people are working in organized sector. They have regular salaries. Regular salaries. They are regularly paid. Here, in second point, irregular, opposite. Irregular salaries. Irregular salaries will be there. Irregular salaries. Third point, these people were work fixed working hours. There will be fixed working hours. Fixed working hours. No fixed working hours. No fixed working hours, isn't it? No fixing hours for the laborers. But what time they tell they will come, then that time only they have to go. And these organized sector people were usually they have certain paid holidays. They have paid holidays. Summer vacations. Government teachers were paid. Dasara vacations. Software engineers or other company also they will give holidays to them. Okay, paid holidays. Provident fund. It is called as PF. Paid holidays, provident fund, leaves, sick leaves. That means same. Sick leaves and certain benefits will be there. Okay. Here no such benefits. This kind of the benefits are not there. Okay. Next, fifth one. If they do any overtime, they paid. Overtime they usually paid. If they do overtime paid, it will be paid. It could be paid. Here, no such provisions. Yeah. So these are where these people they usually work. Government, central, state and MNC. MNC workers. Yeah. Central government, state and MNC. MNC means multinational company. Workers comes under organized sector. Here, laborers belongs to small and scattered. Small and scattered, they comes under unorganized sector. Very big factory, very big multinational company, there will be certain organized man will be there. Proper working hours, proper ways of salaries, proper rules and regulations will be there. But there is no proper rules and regulations. In our textbook they give an example of Rajeshwari, construction machine worker. If her health was not good, she couldn't go for 2-3 days work, does the owner will pay? No. But in case you are a government employee, state government, central government or multinational company, so that they will pay to you. In case certain example, one more important thing is that pregnant women will be there. The pregnant women, they will give 180 days, 6 months leaves will be there. No such leaves will be provided. Leaves and the leaves also paid. They will give the salaries also for that. But no such provisions. If you go work, they can pay. These people are also less paid. These people are highly paid. And in this organized sector, they follow Factory Act, Minimum Wages Act, Shop Establishment Act they follow. Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, Shop Establishment Act. They follow. Here, no such facilities or no such acts. There is no such acts. They may paid weekly or bi-weekly or monthly they may pay, or daily also they may pay in organized sector like construction workers, hamali, any other laborers. This is very, very important. They may ask, what is organized sector, what is unorganized sector, what is the difference between organized sector and unorganized sector. So these are the differences. You see, 80% of the people they are giving 50% of the GDP and 92% of the people they are getting 50% of the GDP. It is completely unfair. So that the government wanted to change these persons to focus, to move to the organized sector. But it is a very risky task to become a unorganized sector to organized sector, because so many people they try to become organized. In this struggle, some of the members may fall in this category, and remaining members, they as usual they fall. They work in the unorganized sector. How they given an example of related to Rajeshwari in our textbook. Next, what are the steps the government need to be take to implement for the better provisions and better life for the people of India? What kind of steps the government have to be take? Sometimes it also may ask to you appreciation sensitivity in our academic standards. In our academic standards, they may also ask us, give your ideas, give your opinion, what government should do. Okay? Yeah. So what government have to do? Gayatri is there. Gayatri is 2 hectares of the land. It was dry land. It is in arid area. So that if she wanted to go for the tube well, she will take money from the money lenders, but bank will not provide. Okay. Then certain steps the government need to be implement. Create employment opportunities. Okay. Create employment opportunities. Create employment opportunities. In what ways government need to be create employment opportunities? First one, irrigation facilities. Irrigation facilities need to be developed. Irrigation facilities need to be provided by the government. Second one, what the government should take steps. What are the steps government need to be take for the create employment opportunities? Create employment opportunities. First one is irrigation facilities provided. If irrigation facilities will be provided, like Gayatri kind of people, they may get benefited for the borewells. Next, modern inputs. Inputs should provide. Modern inputs for the agriculture they should be provided. Third one, educational facilities, educational health facilities. Yeah, we need to provide better health and education facilities need to be created. Next, set up agro-based industry. Set up agro-based industries. Yeah, so government also need to be set up agro-based industries. Next, fifth one, provide credits to the farmers. Provide credits to the farmers. Credit means loans. Provide credits to the farmers. Loan. Next, encourage self-employment. Encourage self-employment. Government should encourage for the self-employment, because government cannot provide for each and everything jobs. So the government at least they can help them, they can encourage them for the self-employment. So these are the steps we have to take to avoid certain things and certain disgust unemployment and underemployment, so that the government should take steps of these kind of things. Irrigation facilities need to be provided, modern input should be provided, educational health facilities need to be provided, set up agro-based industries, provide credits to the farmers, encourage self-employment schemes, so that if the government will provide, then it will be really benefit to those people are mostly depends upon unorganized sector. So children, this is our lesson, production and employment. So I want to revise within 2 minutes of this entire lesson. We have done that 3 sectors. In our Indian economy, there are 3 important sectors are there: primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary depends upon nature, secondary depend upon manufacturing, tertiary it will depend upon services. GDP, the final value of the goods and services produced in a particular year, that is financial year, it is GDP. We have done what is the calculation method of the GDP, how we can calculate what is the primary product, what is the intermediate product, and what is the final product, and how we can avoid the double count, and what is single count we have done, and calculation complexities, how we can calculate the GDP. Is we really calculate the GDP in a proper way? Not. Only nominal GDP only we can calculate. And also we have done that GDP share, once upon a time 74% of the GDP share, highest in agriculture, but that was reduced to 19%. GDP after employment share, 74 people were they worked once upon a time, but now 47, and GDP share was 43 once upon a time, it was 19 nowadays. Now in recent days, mostly increasing of GDP, especially in service sector, because out of 121 crores, 46 crores are working in some sectors. 121 crores, 46 crores people are working. Remaining people are depends upon agriculture. So children, I hope you understand. I cleared your all doubts in production and employment. Thank you. Thanks a lot.